So now if we're going to add in tools, there's a couple different tools that I like to use on the scalp. The first one is a gua sha spoon. And I like to use this part of the spoon, and I use it a couple of different ways. I use it to kind of make a part. Not that you necessarily need a part, because you can do this even if you don't see it. But it's a nice feeling on the scalp to kind of trace down and then open this area that you are going to work on. And it gives you your path to follow. And I simply just do nice circles. It's not too hard and it's not too soft all the way down until you meet the table. And then you can go either left or right, and you make another part, divide the hair, and again, it gives you your path. And you go all the way down. And I do like to start at the crown anytime that I am working on the scalp. I just like to section it so that I know where I have worked, but there's no right or wrong. You could start all the way from the left and go to the right, or vice versa. You could also cut the part this way and come across this way. There's no right or wrong to how that. I'm a righty, so of course I parted that way. If you were a lefty, it would look something like this. And I would just section each part of the scalp and do that same thing. And then another tool that does that same thing. This tool is mostly known for working around the eye area, but this is a nice tool to use if you are adding an oil into the scalp. Same with the other spoon there. But if you're using this tool from creation, you can use the base to part the hair if you're adding an oil in, and then you can use this as the massage area. So I would follow the scalp down to part the hair. I would apply my oil in this particular area, and then I would use the rounded end to kind of just massage this. So the benefits of scalp massage is to make sure that the blood is flowing through the scalp. It helps with hair loss prevention, hair loss growth, thickening of hair, healthy scalp. It helps the fascia stay nice and loose so it doesn't hold any additional tension. And it allows for our lymphatics to move freely as well. And when our circulatory system is doing its job, we have healthy skin, healthy hair, healthy scalp. Another tool is the gua sha tool. And I like to use the teeth portion of my gua sha tool. And I just do little zigzags. And we're not parting the hair. We are just using it as a texture feeling. Again, we're just stimulating the area so that blood, oxygenated blood and lymph can come to the area. So you can do it in a little more of a vibration. You can go fast if that's what you're looking to do, or you can go nice and slow. You could stay very localized, or you can be big with your movements. That's simply a preference. Last but not least, one of my favorites is a gua sha comb, or this one in particular is a copper comb from Wilder North Botanicals. It's one of her original versions. And the way that I like to use a comb is using it as its name indicates. So combing down, giving a little pressure. You can see that I'm holding it at a 45. until I reach the point where I can't do the scalp anymore because the table stops it. And then I like to come back and comb down, but this time do big S curves. And then I do this over the entire scalp. Sometimes I start with the S curves and finish with a straight down comb. Then I step over. Sometimes I start with a straight down comb and finish with S curves. And once I've done the entire scalp that I have access to here without moving my client, then I'm just going to gently nudge her over, and I'm going to do the same thing now where I can access the scalp differently. And while her head is turned, I also like to start as far down. I kind of press into the table. I'm not pressing anything but the table for this. So I press down, find the scalp, and then I can rake upwards, comb upwards. And something that I like to do that feels good with a comb too is I like to start out on the shoulder, come up the neck, and then finish the comb all the way to the center of the scalp. Or you can just start on the neck and notice how I turn the comb to work around all the landmarks of the body. You can also start on the side of the cheek, the neck, come around the ear, come to the top of the scalp and down. And then very specific work with the comb would be to part the hair, just to give you a very specific area to work. Some combs will have a little point, and if not, you could use the edge of one of the teeth of the comb. So I'm going to turn mine over, and I am going to do circles. So I personally like to make sure that if you have a thinner, not as thick comb or gua sha tool, that I'm going to use the point, but I'm going to leave it, we're not 45 degrees or 90 degrees off of the scalp. I'm going to leave it as really close as I can, but still utilizing that point and doing some circles. So I'll show you the same thing with the tooth. Smaller area, right? And again, what we're doing is we're just focusing on the hair follicles and bringing blood and lymph. And I can no longer see where that part line was, but I know that the indication, the direction that I was going with that. And then I would step over and do the same thing until you trace the entire scalp. Anytime you do detailed work, once I'm done, you always want to finish with just some nice broad overall sweeps. And I do like to finish with my hands again, because you can touch more of the scalp at the same time. I like to scoop underneath the scalp. And when I scoop underneath the scalp, I like to rake the back with my finger pads or fingernails. Finish with a little bit on the temples, compression. And then last but not least, I'm going to go back to the hair pulling. I'm going to rake back and forth until I feel like I have no small hairs tangled. Nice firm grip. Pull towards my center, give it a little wiggle, and release. Step down about an inch. Comb until no hairs are tangled. Firm grip. Pull towards my body,